Greetings class, Professor Natali here with a mini talk on succession planning. We touched on this a little bit in week 3. So last week we dove into job analysis, a bit of a review for folks who have taken MHR 5302 already. But knowing what exactly we need in our positions is critical in not just acquiring talent, but also in developing it from inside the organization and coming up with a succession plan. Succession planning is identifying people in the organization that can transfer into other key critical positions, and those are usually your higher positions. This chart is a great depiction of the process. Also, to be successful, succession plans need executive support, participant and worker involvement, meaning you don't want to just put somebody in a position if they don't know that they're even being considered for it. And that goes along with open dialogue about interests, abilities, and the company's needs. We also need to do an assessment of skills, and the 360 performance appraisal is a perfect tool to do something like this. And development plans for each person in each position, so we know what people need in order to get to the positions that we're looking to fill. And this chart shows how we actually lay out this, what we call slates of candidates for each critical role. Not all roles, but just the critical ones. So the CEO, VP of sales, and other VP positions. You'll notice that within each one, you've got a name of a person who is what we call readiness, ready now. So that would be the first person we look to take over the role. The second person is ready within 1 year. So if the first person can't step up, the second person may be ready. And if not, then we know how long we have until that person is ready. And then the third position is usually something we look at 1 to 2 years out. So again, ready now, ready within 1 year, and ready in 1 to 2 years. I happen to have been in charge of company-wide succession planning for a 33,000 employee organization, and we called our successors our Team 2. The key and critical positions were executive level and some SME roles, subject matter expert roles, in each department for local, national, and international locations. Approximately 0.5% or 160 to 165 employees were part of the slates of eligible candidates. Our program was what Deloitte would label competitive, separating the haves from the have-nots, driven by senior leadership and very process-driven. Performance metrics and a person's reputation as determined by the executives are what determine one's future. So while the program continues to be strong, it could definitely have benefited more from a centered approach, as Deloitte talked about, being more engaging and empathetic by involving the Team 2 participants. Surprisingly, being on Team 2 was a big secret at the company, and I mentioned this in our discussion in week 3. And one could come off the list just as quickly as being put on it, again, without the candidate knowing it. So more transparency, open communication, true dialogue had been my goal, but it was up against a very staunch, traditional, and embedded culture that has not changed since I left about a decade ago. As you can see from this graphic, the program I was in charge of making some critical mistakes. The 5 common mistakes to avoid. You play favorites. Yes, that happened. You don't have an objective process for spotting successors. We had a process. I don't know that it was objective. You don't address disappointment. When people don't know they're on the list, or if they think they are and they're not, that does present some disappointment, but no, we did not address it. You turn the process into a competition. That it was. Everybody wanted to be on Team 2. Not everybody, but many people wanted to be on Team 2, and they had no idea how to get there, and if they heard they were on it, then they definitely thought they were better than everyone else. And number 5, you keep the succession planning process a secret. Yeah, that was at the root of it. So part of my role managing succession planning included developing people for those next leadership roles. Leadership development is often done using what we call a 9-box. It's a grid where we place individuals based on their potential and their performance. Potential along one axis and performance along the other. The upper right corner houses those employees who are top performers with top potential and are hopefully ready for openings when we need them. Okay, that's it for the mini lecture. Assignments for the week include a discussion regarding succession planning in your own organization or one you're familiar with. You will also develop an actual succession plan for the same organization you introduced us to in week 3's recruiting strategy. See the assignment directions for details, and be sure to check out the rubric to make sure you include all the components at the highest levels. Let me know if you have any questions. Cheers!